Here we go. Welcome into the show. You're watching the San Francisco 49ers Report. I am your host, Chase Sr. Coming up on the show, Niners got some exciting news going into training camp. And speaking of that, Niners rookies reporting to Santa Clara today for the start of training camp. As we record this show on July 15th, of course, veterans report a week from today on July 22nd, and that's really the official start date of Niners 2025 training camp. I'm telling you right now, 2025 season is going to be here before we know it. And you look at this date right here, July 22nd. That is the same day that the rival Dallas Cowboys begin their training camp. So I thought, you know what? Let's have some fun here on the show. Let's make it a little bit of a competition. Tom Downey, host of the Cowboys Report. He's probably, 50 feet to my right, outside of this wall from my studio. He does a great job on that channel. We do a great job here on the 49ers Report, though. This is a great rivalry inside the NFC, inside the NFL, a storied history. It's a heated rivalry inside the walls of Chat Sports. New subs gained since the turn of this month on July 1st. 272 for the Niners, 257 for the Cowboys. This is a close race now. I don't want the Cowboys Report to close the gap. I want to dominate Dallas. As always, it's F the Cowboys. Subscribe to the channel. And on top of getting a win over the Cowboys, you can get some of the best Niners coverage right here on YouTube, led by your fearless leader, myself, Chase Sr., right here on the 49ers Report. So the 2024 season for San Francisco, it goes without saying, right? It sucked. And this mood from Kyle Shanahan to my right was the mood that a lot of us had. Confused, wondering what went wrong, where it went wrong, how did it go wrong, and just staring into space in shock for how bad the Niners 6-11 season was. It was a nightmare for San Francisco last year, coming off that gutting Super Bowl loss to the Chiefs in Super Bowl 58 in Las Vegas. One of the more difficult losses that you can suffer as a sports fan. But that's all in the rear view. That's in the past. Looking ahead to the 2025 season, the Niners are hoping that the vibes, kind of like this, light vibes, positive vibes, a lot of smiles, good energy. And we're all hoping that this Niners season this year in 2025, much better than the previous campaign. And I'm telling you this right now, I feel good about this football team. All of the signs going into camp point to the Niners being able to bounce back. And I'm not talking about a bounce back year where the Niners went 6-11 a year ago and they're going to win 9 games this year. I think San Francisco wins double-digit games here in 2025. I think that they can win the NFC West. They can be contenders to win the NFC. And if they get good contributions from these rookies, this team is talented enough from a roster standpoint, coaching standpoint, to potentially compete for a Super Bowl. And a lot of frowns from Niner fans a year ago could turn into smiles from the faithful, from the Niner gang and the Niner Empire in 2025. Now, Warren Sharp of Sharp Football Analysis released his 2025 football preview. It is the best, most in-depth book that you can read to get yourselves ready from a team-by-team standpoint and NFL league-wide for the 2025 season. And I was going through the Niners chapter, and it made me feel even better about what the Niners can accomplish this year. And let's start off here. 2 years ago, before 2023, Warren Sharp was begging to just see one season where the Niners were not massively injured. He predicted, when things change, look out. Well, they were the 4th healthiest team in 2023, and they made it to the Super Bowl that year. Unfortunately, that respite in player health was short-lived. Look at the Niners' player health year by year. In 2025, obviously, we'll see, but they're a healthy team right now. But in 2024, the number 1 most injured team in the NFL. In 2023, 4th healthiest team. It was great. In 2022, 9th most injured team in the NFL. 2021, 3rd most injured. In 2020, year after they made it to the Super Bowl in 2019, the number 1 most injured team in football. Even when they made it to the Super Bowl in 2019, blew that 4th quarter lead against Kansas City. Again, they were the 6th most injured team in the NFL. In Kyle Shanahan's 2nd year in 2018, they were the 4th most injured team in football. Isn't it nuts how much the Niners have been hurt, They do play a physical style. There's no doubt about that. I think some of it has to do with injury misfortune, but still how successful they've been able to be despite being an injured ball club. 4 of the last 6 years, they've either made it to the NFC Championship game or a Super Bowl. And it's wild, too, that in the 2 years they've made it to the Super Bowl, 2019 and 2023, the year after, they were the most injured team in all of football. That's a crazy run of injury, misfortune, and bad luck. Are the Niners cursed a little bit in that regard? I think they have been. But at some point, that has to change. Injuries to that level, not sustainable. So the good news right now for San Francisco is that the Niners are a healthy team going into training camp. The Niners are also a younger roster. And when you're younger, you're hungrier. You don't have as much wear on the tires. You're more athletic. I also think that San Francisco, and this is huge, is a better coached team as far as their entire coaching staff right now compared to where they were this time last year. And going back to the Niners being banged up, how do you expect to have success when you have this many injuries on offense? And shoot, they were banged up on defense too. Again, number 1 most injured team in football, but the 2nd most injured offense. Brandon Ayuk torn ACL. Deebo Samuel missed 2 games. Jawan Jennings missed 2 games. Ricky Pearsall got shot, missed the first 6 games of the year. George Kittle missed 2 games, but was hampered throughout parts of the year due to a hamstring injury. Elijah Mitchell missed the whole year. John Feliciano missed the whole year. Trent Williams only played 10 games. Aaron Banks missed a couple of games. Jalen Moore, Trent Williams' replacement, also missed time toward the end of the year. Yet, despite all of those injuries, and Brock Purdy having no synergy or continuity on the offensive side of the ball, look at where the Niners ranked offensively in the first half of games. This is where depth doesn't hurt you as much as it does throughout the course of 4 quarters. But in the first half of games, the Niners offense ranked number 2 in first half yards per play, number 5 in first half total yards, number 6 in score rate on first half drives, number 7 on EPA per play in the first half. But when you are missing all of those players on offense and you're banged up on defense, number 1 most injured team in football, you cannot keep your head above water for 60 minutes. And that's what happened to the Niners last year. Now, of course, Kyle Shanahan has to make some adjustments. He has to be better in the 4th quarter. So too does Brock Purdy in close games and when he's down. But Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy needed some help last year. They didn't get it. And, of course, they caused some of the issues themselves. Look at the Niners' 4th quarter scoring. This is when the lack of depth and all of the injuries really hurt them. 5.2 points per 4th quarter is what the Niners scored last year. That was 28th in the NFL. They were outscored by opponents by 4.5 points. That was dead last in the league. And it's important to emphasize this was an offensive and defensive issue for San Francisco. Some of those numbers are so weird that if they were to repeat themselves and happen year over year and again, it would be improbable, nearly impossible for those types of numbers to repeat themselves, especially being the number 1 most injured team in football year over year, which is why it's so big right now that the Niners have a younger team, a healthier team, and going into camp, they're feeling good about themselves from a health standpoint and a mental standpoint. And Kyle Shanahan and players have talked about how the good vibes are back, how mentally they are recharged, and that's a big deal. Now, we have so much more to get to here on the show. You don't want to miss the information that we're going to break down on the other side. But I got to tell you about this great deal, thanks to our friends at Fanatics. This Niners cutoff hoodie, which is great any time of the year, was $55. Now it is on sale for just $33. That is $22 off, limited time only. Get your hoodies now before they run out because they're flying off the shelves. I was looking at the analytics and the data. Chatsports.com/49ers cutoff. Use that link. It'll take you to Fanatics. You can get this hoodie on sale only if you use that link, and Fanatics will know that we sent you. So as we look ahead to 2025, I also think that one of the big reasons why the Niners will be better is because Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy will be better. And also, they're going to have some assistance and help around them on offense with health, but also on special teams and on defense. And I like the level of talent that the Niners have on the offensive side of the rock. More from Warren Sharp here. When we're talking aggressiveness, we track the number of passing attempts a quarterback makes that are into tight coverage, where there is a defender within 1 yard or less of the receiver at the time of completion or incompletion. Purdy had to force the ball into coverage more often last year. Despite that, Purdy completed 2% more passes than expected, which was number 9 in the NFL and nearly identical to his 2023 mark of plus 2.5. This year, ladies and gentlemen, the Niners need to be able to separate. Good news is they're a faster team in 2025. Back to Warren Sharp. In Purdy's first year in the NFL, he helped lead the Niners to a 13-4 mark. First year as a starter, lost in the NFC Championship game. In Purdy's second year, he helped lead the Niners to a 12-5 mark and a win in the NFC Championship game. That actually was his first year as a starter. Last year, though, despite the number 2 most injured offense and just 57 total snaps with McCaffrey, Ayuk, Samuel, Kittle together on the field, Purdy ranked number 3 in yards per attempt, number 4 in success rate, number 5 in EPA per attempt. He posted the NFL's number 1 best completion rate on passes of 10-plus yards downfield. People look at Purdy being the antithesis of a prototype quarterback and wonder why he was paid like he was. The answer is everything that you read right there. You're not blindly picking him out of a lineup to lead your team, but he's picked up the Shanahan offense perfectly, has more talent than what meets the eye, and is more than capable of leading the 49ers to a resurgent 2025 season. And for the Niners, this season sets up extremely well pre-flop for success. That's all positive news. Why? Because if the Niners get close to the player who Purdy was in 2023, this offense will be better off, and that will just be fantastic for that entire unit. And despite him struggling at moments last year, despite the Niners going 6-11, there was a lot of good amidst a lot of the ugly that transpired last season. As for Christian McCaffrey, if he can stay healthy, and right now looks great, is said to be healthy. He's one of the most dynamic players in football, and he has changed this Kyle Shanahan offense since his arrival in 2022. Look at the Niners' pass rate on early downs in the first half, year by year. 49%, that ranked 30th in the NFL in 2020. 2021, 51% pass, that ranked 24th. 2022, 51% pass, that ranked 24th. In 2023, when McCaffrey won Offensive Player of the Year, 51% pass, that was 28th. But in 2024, no McCaffrey, only played 4 games. The Niners passed it 55% of the time. They were the 15th most pass-heavy team in the first half of games last year, and it took them away from their strengths and forced them to do something that they weren't built to do or accustomed to do. More insight on CMC here. They were forced to pass the ball much more as part of the game plan, as I shared the screen here, because the run game was not nearly as successful as it had been in the past. The inefficiency of these run plays in 2024, the Niners, number 17 in success, but they were, and number 12 in EPA per rush, number 26 in lowest rate of runs that gained 1 yard or less in 2023 in those same categories. Number 2 in success, number 1 in EPA per rush, 10th lowest rate of runs that gained 1 yard or less. That's the McCaffrey impact. First down runs in the first half were very problematic. Number 21 in success rate, 36%, more than 1 in 3 rushes, gaining 1 or fewer yards. That ranked 30th in the NFL. Setting the Niners up with longer to go distances on second down. That also has a cumulative effect, right? That's why also the Niners were bad third down, fourth down, and in the red zone. Couldn't run it. In 2023, 25% of total targets went to running backs, mostly Christian McCaffrey. That ranked as the number 3 highest rate in football. And these running back passes ranked number 1 in success rate compared to the rest of the NFL. In 2024, the Niners threw just 11% of the time to running backs. Massive step down, number 25 in the league. And these passes ranked number 21 in success. Another massive step down. So when we talk about running back production being replaceable, We generally are talking about what happens on a play when runner B gets the ball instead of runner A. But for Kyle Shanahan, it's not just that his other runners are not at McCaffrey's level. Shanahan completely has to overhaul the offense without Christian McCaffrey. More passing, less running, fewer running back targets, and a massive drop in efficiency when actually running or throwing to running backs. For a final example, look at the yards before contact per rush. 2023, 1.72 for San Francisco, sixth best in the NFL. 2024, 1.73, fifth best in the NFL. 2024, 1.73, fifth best. Virtually identical production before contact from the offensive line. But in 2023, the Niners ranked number 5 in yards after contact per rush, number 4 in explosive run rate, and number 4 in EPA per attempt when running between the tackles. All these fell massively in 2024. They were number 14 in yards after contact per rush, number 14 in explosive run rate, number 17 in EPA per attempt when running between the tackles. Their rushing elusiveness score in 2023 was 6.2, ranked number 3 in the NFL. That dropped to 4.9 and ranked number 13 in 2024. This was the absence of Christian McCaffrey. I know that those numbers, that data, those trends, it's a lot to take in. Go back and rewatch it if you have to so that you can grasp it better. But this man that we pop up here to my right plays a huge role in the Niners' success. And so for him to be healthy is massive. But also think about Isaac Guerendo, Jordan James. What do they have that Jordan Mason did not? And I wasn't a fan of trading away Jordan Mason. They can catch the ball out of the backfield. They can run in between the tackles. They are good at picking up yards after contact with contact balance. Even a player like Corey Kiner, the UDFA out of Cincinnati, former LSU recruit and player. He's excellent and was one of the best running backs in college football last year at picking up yards after contact. So look, you're not going to have McCaffrey forever. You have to adapt and evolve as an offense. Kyle Shanahan needs to do that. And he can do better in some areas, right? But to get Brock Purdy playing at a better level, totally doable. And he still played very well last year. To get Christian McCaffrey back healthy, it's going to help a lot. To develop other running backs who can make up for what the Niners didn't have last year is huge. And then further reasons why I think San Francisco is due for a bounce-back year, they are healthy. Easiest schedule in the NFL. They have one of the top coaching staffs in football. Kyle Shanahan, Robert Saleh, Brant Boyer. The quarterback head coach, again, going to bounce back, and the defense bound to improve. Positive developments going into training camp. And those are just a few of the reasons why I think San Francisco is a playoff team and bounces back in a big way in 2025. I'm always talking Niners here on YouTube on the 49ers Report. I'm always talking Niners over there on X and Instagram. Give me a follow, give me a shout, and say what's up.